This is the UNspecial podcast. Today I'm joined with Brian and Susie Wolfenstein. That's an excellent last name, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Wolfenstein. Steen.
Yeah, it's okay.
And Susie is a mom to four, autism mom, permanent makeup artist, owns Honey and Sage salon where they do makeup and jewelry, probably
And
more,
all the
and
things.
all the things,
Mhm.
everything that I don't use.
Yeah.
And then we have her husband, Brian, which is a special treat to have you on. It's typically difficult to get both the husband and wife on. A, because the husband never wants to come on. And B, unfortunately, a lot of the times the husband pieces out, which is super unfortunate. I think divorce rate with special needs families like in the 80%,
Yep.
which we'll get into that. As marriage is hard enough as it is, and then you throw in a 24/7, profound autistic son with other siblings, poses extreme challenges. And Brian owns a sand and gravel company, Concrete, which I can relate to. I own a construction business.
Awesome.
And they are in Las Vegas, north of Las Vegas. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So a little bit of background. You have a son named Trey. How old is he?
He's 15.
You go.
Okay.
Yeah, 15. And I'm too curious. We have to get into this part. What you're fresh out of a meeting at the school and he got suspended for the second time?
Yes.
I didn't even know that's possible. I thought with an IEP you can't get suspended.
Well, it's a third time actually, so that's three now.
I shouldn't be laughing.
Yeah, no, it's not funny, but it is at the same time, right? You probably with what you've done in your past. So no, he hit a teacher or the para that was helping him, and the way the school policies work here is that they have to treat it as a threat or an assault, and so it goes into the suspension like a regular student, but then it triggers a meeting because he's on an IEP. Then they call it an MDR, and they go through a meeting and determine that, okay, the disability is what caused the outcome, the assault or whatever. They have to use those terms because that's what the policy dictates. And so today we all went with the special education department as teacher, and it was determined obviously that what happened was due to his special needs, his disability. And now he goes back to school tomorrow. He could have went back to school today, but he'll go back to school tomorrow.
Okay. And that's not just kind of a given, or with the IEP? No?
I don't. Obviously, I think there's things that probably need to be updated with things, but I don't know. There's the bureaucracy and things are challenging for
he's
sure.
He's in a weird spot too because he is
I'm the school
board president. So
oh, interesting.
Yeah,
that complicates it for sure.
Yeah.
For the most part, there's always challenges everywhere, but we have a good school district. We have good teachers, good staff, admin.
Yeah. What's his school setup? Is he main?
He's in an autism.
Yeah, he's in the autism unit. Yep.
Okay, so a special day class.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then does he go into general ed classes?
Just PE. They integrate him into PE, and that's about it.
Okay. Oh, that's super fascinating. So I taught, my first 2 years was a autism only program, and I had like 5 to 7 students. It was non-speaking, and it was super violent, like every single day.
Sure.
And so like we would get hit all day long, and it was just kind of the way it was. I loved it. I don't know. I'm the weird one that just thought it was super exciting. If I got through the day without getting hit, it was a successful day. Not because anything on the students. It was, I just took it upon myself that I ran a good day in the classroom,
Mm-hmm.
and was able to regulate all the varying challenges. So that's unfortunate. So that's the third time this year.
Second time this
this
year.
year. Yeah,
What's
one
the
thing.
what's the plan going forward?
So they updated his behavioral. He has a behavioral intervention plan now because
Right.
of the previous one, and so the thing is to just continue to implement that. Most of what came out of it today was that we're going to keep on track with what we were doing and what we had discussed last time to get where we're at now. And then, do a couple of diet things, changes that we've already implemented to help that. And then, he started taking leucovorin and
Nice.
a couple other things. I know Susie has probably discussed a little bit with you, and we'll probably talk about that. But his moods and his overall demeanor seems to have improved quite a bit in the last couple of weeks, especially.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. What is it like on the parent side getting those phone calls from the school? As I'm sure many of our listeners get those calls frequently. And I had an array of parents where I kind of, the first week of school, I would talk with all of them and be like, at what severity of a behavior do you want me to call you? And some of them were like, don't call.
Mm-hmm.
And then some were like, oh, if he taps somebody on the shoulder, I'm like, well, that's probably not going to happen. Like, I can't call you all day long.
right,
But what are those phone calls like?
Well, they're really stressful. When I see the school number pop through my phone, I'm just like, here we go.
Nah,
Like it's
not again.
and if I'm working, I actually can't. I don't even hear my phone ring. But he's the second person they call because I'm either in gloves and bloodborne pathogens. I can't hurry and answer my phone.
So you've been going at this for 15 years. How do you handle all the emotions?
go ahead.
No, you go ahead. How do you handle your emotions?
We don't have any, by the way. Guys don't have any.
Yeah, we don't
Yeah,
have any emotions.
it does.
That's not true at all. So, um, I don't know. I guess growing up, I was around a family that was close that had a very, very special needs daughter. I never really knew a lot of what was going on because they were pretty private about things, and to this day they still are. Um, but she had some brain trauma, lack of oxygen when she was being born, and that's affected most of her, obviously her life. So, but around them a lot, and then I seem to always be around somebody like in school, high school especially. There was one kid that he had some special needs, and me and him were buddies, and so just kind of been drawn to the one, I guess you could say, for a lot of my life, people that are kind of down and out. And that's a lot of the teachings that I've been taught is, take care of people and do good to everyone, no matter what they are. And so I think that prepared me in a way for what was to come, but not entirely, obviously, because you have these ambitions for your kids and all those things. Oh, they're going to be football players, they're going to play baseball, or they're going to drive cars, or they're going to be the smartest kid in school, or whatever the heck it is. And so, then when that happens, it's kind of shattering, and sometimes it's kind of a selfish feeling too, because you think what's going to happen for them, but then reality comes and it's like, oh shoot, this is not going to be his lot in life. And so just being realistic and and understanding that we're all learning together, and exercising and learning patience to a degree that I never thought that I would ever get to, just because there's someone that needs you all the time in a way that can change, minute by minute, second by second, or you're fine, and then all of a sudden, you know, another challenge comes, and like a phone call, like we were talking about, the school phone call, you just like, you think that everything's going good. Okay, we got a good strategy, we got a good rhythm going on, life is good, and then you get the phone call, and Trey hit some teachers and some kids in the hallway, and it's like, oh my gosh, wow. I thought we were through all that stuff, and then reality comes back, and it's like, no, there's still more we have to do. And so just keeping emotions in check, not getting too high or too low, but just trying to be as even keel as possible. And it is, I guess that's a long, shortish way of how I deal with things. And my wife is very different than me, I think, and she could explain that better.
I don't even know how to explain how I get.
You're a roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah. I've learned like the pride cycle is on steroids when you're raising a special needs child. Like don't get content or think you've made it ever, because that's when crap hits the fan. And it's just you have to learn to roll with it, and or else you're going to be psychotic. That's what I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think like resilience is at a whole different level that if you don't have a special needs child, you don't understand it,
Hmm.
and just keep continuing to bounce back, like you said, when something happens. So then, do you like how do you not live in a constant state of fear or like worry or stress?
I think we do.
You're
We
like,
still do. I
yeah,
think, but it's definitely become a more moderated version of that constant worry and fear, because for a while there it was run away, and you know and he'll just run, right? Where's he going to go? I have no idea. He's going there. We had experiences where we're out on a date and we got a phone call from somebody that Trey had gotten out of the house and was laying in the middle of the road. And so someone
At
saw at
night.
night. So thankfully somebody saw and knew our house and made a phone call. They thought someone was trying to die of
Suicide.
suicide by car, and it's just
oh my
Trey.
gosh,
It was just Trey laying on the ground, probably liking the vibrations and the
The
heat,
warmth
the
from the
heat of
room.
the asphalt, and so there is definitely some divine intervention that has occurred in life, because he probably should have been run over by a car and dead. And our other kids were watching him, and we don't blame anything on them. They were doing the best they could, and they just didn't know, and he was gone. And it was one of those extreme emotional times, like, oh my gosh, we're never going to be able to leave our house again. Our kids, why did we put so much burden on them to take care of something that is hard, and they don't know that all the way yet? So then you have all the emotions of that going on, like I've set my kids up for failure. I also set this up, and so it's hard to get through that. But at the end of the day, we learned a lot from it, and we have locks on the inside
Our
of our house.
house is not fire safe. It's tray safe.
No, we can rip those things off. But I
So
mean, like, doorbell, like, chimes all over, motion sensors, cameras, all those things, just to provide a little bit of
time.
time. So when we go to bed, we're not worried about him leaving in the middle of the night and doing whatever the heck he's gonna do, like make a Circle K run to go get a treat. That's he probably would go, like. And he used to walk over to my aunt's house, and because she had good snacks in her pantry, and he would walk over there on the road and go in their house. And thankfully, their house was unlocked a few times, and he'd just go in and make himself a home and get what he wanted, and then walk back. And so, but they've helped too, and putting cameras on things. And I mean, it just it
It's the village.
it's the village somewhat, yes, but it is hard.
It is.
It's
You're
hard to
hearing it
stay.
on my phone.
Oh, because it's trying to record it, I think. It's just it's everyday challenge.
Yeah.
yeah. Then how do you find space for yourself? Like, what do you do? What are your hacks? I mean, you guys, in the short time that I've meeting you, you seem to have an incredible perspective on life and a classic example of not being victims to your circumstance. Like you
Mhm.
still can laugh about it, still find some joy in it. I'm sure those joyful moments are like exhilarating.
Yeah, huge miracles.
Yeah.
I think that our faith is what keeps us kind of motivated because we know that this life isn't the end. That's what we believe.
Hmm.
And we believe that Trey will be made whole and perfect and in the next life, and he will be able to tell us everything we were wanting to know in this life. I think it's going to be beautiful. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. I sometimes I worry about that though. He's like, Dad, you shouldn't have, why'd you get frustrated with me or something like that, I was like, I don't know what to do, you were running around with no clothes on in the middle of whatever, you know what I mean? It's like, what was I supposed to do? And you were beating the crap out of me that night and I had no idea why. And so all of us had to hold you down that night. So he's like, I was fine,
I think there'll be a lot of more grace than we think, though, in
I,
a lot of
I
ways.
hope
So,
so. So
Yeah. Take me back to the early days. So is Trey the oldest of the four?
he's our third.
He's your third.
He's the biggest,
Okay.
though. He looks like the oldest.
Okay. Um, what was going on in the early days? How did you
Was
find out? What did it look like?
um So we had two other children at that time, and Trey was about 17 months. So we had three kids under the age of 2 and planned separate births. We were crazy. It was awesome. Three in diapers. But we finally took Trey to his well check visit, and that's where, raising the other two, I wasn't always making every appointment and everything, but that's where at that time they said he's really behind on his vaccines and we can catch him up today if that's okay with you. And I'm like, is that normal? Do you do that all the time? Is that safe? And they're like, oh yeah, we do it all the time. And so as a mom with two other kids before that got their vaccines, not obviously been caught up, but got their vaccines on schedule and no issues. I'm like, all right, let's do it. But then I didn't know how many was catching up, and they gave him 7 at once. And within that week,
Man.
he basically went from speaking, eye contact, everything, normal little he was actually exceeding some milestones, to a zombie child, like staring through you when you say his name, no words anymore, almost delirious.
the hand flapping started,
The spinning.
like the chasing something, looking to the side, just turning, and just all those weird stimming things. And he just went from a regular calm kid that's just, asking to ride his bike and scooter and to just, all that progress just gone just like that. And then those behaviors that are, pretty common with kids that have autism. So it was weird. I thought it was some sort of I thought it was some sort of like regression at first because he just, more or less the talking ended. But then Susie's like, no, something else wrong with him. And then he started getting more into these weird behaviors. And it's like, oh, there's something wrong with him. And so a lot of research Susie did and figuring out what the heck was and kind of linking it back to that from a lot of other people that have very, very similar experiences to us. And then doing what we had to do from there is like, well, early intervention is critical. So let's see what we can do to try to get back whatever is able to be. And so that started the
He
journey.
was about 2 years old almost when we started that. But I will say, like, knowing, I knew deep down that that's what it was. Like, that was his diagnosis. But getting the actual diagnosis was like the worst day of my life. Like, okay, this is real. Like, this is really going to be our life. So,
Yeah.
And you had two other kids so close in age. So then, man,
You were pregnant
are
almost too, huh?
yeah, I was
You were pregnant.
pregnant, having a fourth. Yeah, we had 4 kids in 3.5 years. Planned. Planned.
That's hats off to you.
It's
uh,
awesome
You
now,
could get
but
pregnant in a hurry, but we thought maybe it'd take a little while, but never did. So
I know. No, never. I won't go there. Um, what? How was the grieving? How like you had a grieving process? I'm sure. I'm
yeah,
still.
the day he was diagnosed, my mom lived an hour away and I just drove to her because I needed someone just to hug me. So
Yeah.
yeah,
that was hard.
this is really challenging because you just know that things aren't going to be the same. And then like
Hmm.
like obviously my heart hurt for my wife because she took it very personal that like she had done something wrong. And I could say anything that I I wanted to her, but it just didn't necessarily going to change that because that's her job as a mom is she's the nurturer and the I take care of them and make sure that they're well, they're fed, they're happy, they're clean, and that they're saying mama, dad, dad, baba, all that stuff. I mean, that's just core motherhood. That's right there, and all
Hmm.
those things that had made good progress were gone all of a sudden, and so it was hard to watch her have to go through that that way and just tell her I loved her and it's not her fault, but she had to believe that first, and it took her a little bit of time, obviously. But then, as quick as it came on, is as fast as she snapped back and said, "No, we're going to go after this thing." And
Try anything
yeah,
we can afford, basically.
yeah,
Or even if we can't, we're gonna do it.
yeah. So we owe it to him to do that because that's our job didn't change because something in his life changed like that. We still had to do it. Just, of course, a little bit of a course correction on what that was. So it's not getting to where he's going to be the best football player in the world again, get him the gym and all that stuff, and teaching him to read and the different math problems and stuff as a common kid. But it's like, okay, we're going to find out how are we going to help your gut, how are we going to help your brain, how are we going to help you to sit still, keep your clothes on, wear a diaper, potty train you, all these things that were just going to be pretty simple all of a sudden became very complex. And how are we going to get you through teenage boyhood? And like all those things went through our mind like, holy cow, this is going to be hard. And so we better, you know, we just focus and committed to each other and our kids too and our families. Everybody just linked together and said we're going to go
I
and
think I think that's what's rare in a lot of people is first off the marriages usually aren't
Hmm.
like we're super blessed that we wanted to stick it out for not only well first off each other but our children because I feel like that almost makes things harder for the children when you take away something that they're used to. And but our families, like his parents and siblings, and my parents and siblings, have this is rare too. I feel like is they're all accepting, and they love Trey. Like they want him around. I see that so much in a lot of people's posts or anything else. Is they oh man, you might have to get your phone ready. Um, is they don't want them around because it ruins the outing or the event for a certain person. And I think that's so wrong.
Right. So, what motivated you, Brian, to continue to keep showing up? Because I mean, you had two other kids. Everything rocked your world. Your wife is, obviously dealing with a lot of stuff going on. I mean, I asked a little bit on my end. My story is my wife came down with cancer 18 months ago, and it was like 6 months of misery, in and out of the hospital. I mean, we were in the hospital for like 50 days. The kids were with my in-laws. I have four kids, 9, 7, 4, and a 1-year-old. we found out my wife had cancer when she was pregnant with the fourth at 25 weeks.
Wow.
And it was kind of like one of those moments, like seemingly everything was going good. My construction business was going well. I started a second business, a water mold remediation business, and it was starting to crush it. And we had to leave Idaho and come to San Diego, and like everything fell apart. And that's when I started this podcast, which is ironic and interesting, the timing of it, because I've been wanting to do it for a long time, but it was as if God was like, you need to start this now because you need to hear from parents who go through very challenging journeys. And from that, you're going to learn from them and it's going to help you, which is exactly what's happening. Like I get more out of these podcasts than I think I think you guys do. Um, but you know, especially on a special needs journey, it's so easy for the guy to peace out. And I found myself even trying to support my wife through cancer, showing up for the kids, showing up for my business, and just keeping everything together. Because it's as if like if I don't keep all this together, it's all going to fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what like where did you get that motivation and determination? Is this who you are? Is it your
Well,
upbringing?
yeah, I'd say just the heritage of having good, strong men. You know, my dad has been a huge example to me. You know, my grandfather, both of my grandfathers are just extremely committed, you know, and kind and but also intense men who love their families always, you know. And obviously I think there's probably things that I hope to improve upon that they would hope that I would do better than they did. And, you know, we're supposed to get better generationally, right? But the
Mm-hmm.
core thing is that you know, you're a husband, you're a dad, you're a provider. And so when you commit to something, no matter what it is, even before I was married, you commit all the way and you go all in. And if you don't know how to do it, you ask good questions, but you know, don't handicap yourself and think, oh, I no one told me how to do this, so I guess I don't have to, right? I'll wait. This the whole issue of waiting for someone to invite you to do something is not in my DNA. Like I'm not an in your face person, but I'm also not going to wait for somebody if I, you know, I can figure it out, I can do it. And so that's been my thinking of passed down from my good family and heritage is that, you know, we just work through it, we figure it out, and we trust God that He's going to give us the answers when we fall short because we're not going to know everything. And so when we get to that point of like, I've done everything I can, God, now what is,
What are you gonna do?
what am I missing here? What do I need to do? You know, and when my wife is frustrated beyond all belief because I had to work still, right? And
Right.
I had to go. And, you know, and it's, you know, you don't care about us and those conversations that happen, they're real life though. And people have those. I think they're just, you know, they're afraid to admit that, you know, they don't want people to think that they're bad or mean or whatever it is, but they intensify further with having lots of little kids, throwing the special needs one in the middle of all that, and then still having all the same responsibility, like you're saying. It's like your responsibility didn't change when your wife got cancer. It just
Yeah.
complicated the process, but there is a way to get through it. So it just know that I love my wife forever, and so I'm going to do everything I can for her and all of our children because that's my job, and I want to do it. And so that's probably the best thing for me is that I want to do those things. It's not a burden for me to have to do it. It's something I want to do. And that's what anybody has to do, I think, to persevere challenges.
Yeah, that commitment and community is huge. It's huge. And so you were able to keep working, and obviously, all the financial commitment of raising a son with profound autism is enormous. And you've done quite a few therapies for Trey, including Let me just read all these off because I saw. I think this is when I first saw your post, and I was like, "Holy cow!" I want to hear more about this. Methyl B12 injections, parasite cleanse, chelation, chirokinesiology appointments, a MAPS doctor, diet free, stem cells in Panama, stem cells in Mexico 3 times,
Mm.
hyperbaric chamber, zeolites, speech therapy. I'm sure there's more on a day to day basis, like, or, his diet, all these
Yeah.
little things that I don't think families realize is the intensity and clarity and doing everything you can for your child. What, how did all those therapies go? I mean,
Well,
there's a lot. I don't
he
know where to
was
start.
we started diet first. We found a MAPS doctor first, and we
Oh,
did a
that's
bunch of
huge.
chelation. Can you hear me pretty good?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. We did chelation just to like metal detoxes, a lot of mito cocktails. We've done when he was 5 was when we heard about stem cells in Panama, and it was Dr. Orden.
Dr. Reardon.
Reardon. And it was like, is it Mel Gibson was going? There was like, it was like a big thing. And
Wow.
we're like, oh, great, a 7-hour flight to Panama with a special needs child, you know. But he did great. We actually were gonna build a dream home on a plot of land at that time, and we saw how much this trip was, and we're like, well, if we sell the land and stay where we're at, we can go on this trip.
Wow.
And so I think the whole trip was around $30,000 out of pocket. There was no way we could have done that other than that. And so we did that. It was like the third day of treatment. We saw he was watching the cars go by, like noticing colors different. It was almost like like his focus was coming back because stem cells are go in your body to fix anything that's damaged first. Like it goes after what it finds that's damaged.
Those are specifically umbilical cord.
Those were umbilical cells.
So
And then
donated umbilical cord blood is what those were.
yeah.
Okay.
And then we continued to do like hyperbaric oxygen dives. We did, which is, all out of pocket. There's no insurance that covers these things. We found a
Mhm.
place in Mexico, which is only a 3-hour flight, that actually uses his own bone marrow stem cells. And it was about $10,000 to $15,000 per time. And we were like, okay, if we save up and go at least once every year and a half, like we did that for a little while back to back. Um,
And we got some help.
we did.
My
Our
parents and her
parents and
parents.
my parents and his parents helped us the last time. They basically paid for our whole trip because they want to help. Like they know how much it means to us. So
It's their grandchild too, and so they're looking for ways to contribute any way they can as well. So grateful for them for that.
Right.
So,
So when you go into all these therapies, what's your mindset? Are you like, is this going to be the one that really changes everything, or like you have hope but then you're realistic at the same time? How do you do balance
I
that?
think early on with those treatments, I was like, this is going to be the miracle treatment, right? Like every time on the early, like this new doctor is he's gonna be speaking in like a month. I just know it, right? And that now with him being 15 years old and we're starting like leucovorin like 2.5 weeks ago, I'm like, I'm hopeful about this, but I'm like, any progress is a miracle.
Mm,
So my thought process has definitely changed on miracles because I was looking for big miracles before. I wanted them changed, right? Like it'll make my life easier. It'd be so
mhm.
nice. It'd make his life easier. But I, it's kind of cool to be raising such a. I look at him as a perfect being. He was sent here to our family to make us better humans because we learn
Oh,
so many Christ-like attributes because of him. Patience, unconditional love, charity. Yeah, I mean, we're learning those things intensely every single day. So it's
yeah.
kind of cool.
Yeah, that's interesting you bring that up. Uh, I wrote a book called Special Days, and I'm not trying to plug it. I'm just it's just
Mhm.
remind me. And it's how I saw God in my students from the classroom. It's 12 stories from the classroom, and how my
Mm-hmm.
days they changed and they turned special every single day because I saw how God worked in them, similar to what you're saying with Trey. And
Mm-hmm.
I think it's that mindset and perspective that really can fuel you to just stay on the path, continue, keep
Yeah,
going.
for sure.
What? So you have a full house. You got Trey, third oldest, two older than him, one younger than him. How's their relationship, the siblings?
I think it's pretty good actually. I mean, there's days that are a little bit more frustrating for them than others, I think. But they they have a maturity that's very obvious, different than most everybody that they associate with. They've had to grow up in a different way, obviously, and they've had to learn a different level of patience than most
Mm-hmm.
kids will have to. Um, and then it's also kind of altered probably some of the things that we've done. You know, maybe we couldn't go do certain things, or we've been at a fair before and Trey got there meltdown, and we were
Well,
there
we
for
we
five
bought all of
minutes.
our kids all day wristbands to go to this carnival, and we're like, we're gonna have so much fun. And we went on one ride, and they're like $50 a piece, right? And we got on one ride, and Trey flipped out. Like his shoes fell off because he was so mad. And the kids were like, we have to go home, you guys. Like, this is not going to be good. And they did not complain once. They were like 7 and 8 year
Really?
olds. Trey
Wow.
was probably 6, and
Yeah,
Emery was 5. And I was like, holy cow, we have really good kids.
yeah. It's just they.
Like, really good kids.
It's they just knew. It's like, all right, I guess it's time to go. We're not going to complain. We're gonna go along because this is what we do. So that's probably one of the big moments that stick out in our life is just that you know that annoyance usually. Why do we have to go? but nothing. We all went in line. We got in the car and we went home and just hung out the rest of the night. And no one said anything about that since. And so
Wow.
I think that they've obviously had to go through some things, of protecting yourself from your little brother who can't control. Oh, it's just up.
It's still good. Okay. You
Sorry.
good?
I think so, yeah. You got a phone call.
I think
It's a
so.
phone
Okay.
call.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I just think that yeah, they're just beyond their years, and I hope that continues. I hope there's no resentment. They don't put off any of that kind of stuff. I just, like I said before, they're just sometimes it's inconvenient. Like, oh, I wish we could do that, and you know, just teenagers still, but they have good
Right.
perspective, and I hope that they don't have resentment at all. But we've tried to do everything we can to keep their lives as normal as possible, and that I think that's been really important with Trey too. Is that just because he's functions different, that doesn't mean that we can't go to the restaurant together and have dinner. We go to football games together. He goes to all volleyball games for his sister, and we go to church every Sunday, and like life continues.
Yeah.
we
And
don't isolate. Like I see that a lot,
Mm.
and
and they
that's when it gets scary, I think.
yeah, and it's
Yeah.
hard because in our situation is okay, it's worked,
Ugh,
but
knock on
that
wood.
doesn't mean that it's going to work with everybody. So, but our whole focus at the beginning was no, we're going to do everything we can to try to keep him part of life, and it still is challenging. You're still on eggshells sometimes. You're like, oh man, it'd be a lot easier to just go home, So, but
Right.
it's been worth it for sure because he likes going out. He enjoys his time away, and he loves driving in the car. He loves Holiday Inn Express for whatever reason. That's his. That's the
Oh,
place he wants to go all the time. And it's just we're fortunate and we're blessed that we've been able to make that work, and that's been very helpful, I think, for our other kids too. Is is knowing that he can come and everything's going to be okay.
Yeah. So then what's your take on all the buzz in the autism world right now with finding a cause, potential cures? Autism has been described as a horror show. An inconvenient study came out. I don't know if you've preview to that. It was a film by the Highwire and Del Bigtree on vax versus unvaxxed
Mhm.
kids. Uh, is this something that like intrigues you, or is it kind of just like whatever? Just it doesn't matter so much. This is our life because there's like two. Obviously, there's the spectrum of autism, and it seems like the higher functioning side and the profound side, there's a divide because this side isn't seen and heard, which have been silenced for so long, and then this side is kind of like glorifies autism,
Yeah.
and the two realities are completely different.
Hmm.
What is it like for you living the life of profound autism?
I I I think when we saw the question, my thought was that this has been a problem for a long time. And
Right.
I think it's sad and it's unfortunate that, for
Silence.
whatever reason it's taken this long for somebody to want to discuss it actually. Is
Yeah.
like you just can't ignore thousands and thousands of people that have the exact same thing going on. It's like
Right.
it's unbelievable to me that you can be that, I guess, willing to ignore something. But right, we're beyond the time of crisis because you know our kids are going to have to take care of all these people somehow. So
Mm-hmm.
you're having, 1 in 5 or whatever it is now. It's not good that are going to be diagnosed on the spectrum somewhere. 1 in 12 now that are going to be on the spectrum somewhere. That a lot of them aren't going to be able to keep stable jobs. They're not going to be able to get married. They're not going to be able to have kids. They're going to require someone to take care of them for their whole life. And I don't think people comprehend what that really means. That means like our kids are, they already know this. They're going to be responsible, most likely, one of them or all of them at one point in time, for probably taking care of their brother at some
Mm-hmm.
point in their life.
Yeah.
And you multiply that down the line, but how many, like you're saying, of broken families and things like that that have kids like this, who's taking care of them?
Yeah.
And it's kind of scary to think about. You're going to have a bunch of kids like our son that may not have anywhere to go and may just be out wandering around
Mm-hmm.
literally everywhere. And I think that's a reality that could come sooner than we all think. And it's probably already happening a lot more than we want to admit. And so it's a, I don't know. I don't know that it's going to be solved simply, but just the
Right.
reality of it, like thankfully people are paying attention better. I hope they keep paying attention to it. But it's very complicated, and it is it's beyond an emergency already. It has to, there has to be a way to prevent it. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a it's a big challenge.
Yeah. Does seeing all this in the news and all that, does it take you back to the early days? Is like, or do you think that's why some families don't want to like address this? It's too hard.
Well, I think it sometimes goes back to, even, I don't want to blame the men, but a lot of the husbands or fathers don't want to even admit their child has a disability. That's kind of usually a common denominator as well.
Mm.
But when you can realize that together, like I've always been outspoken, even in the early days, like even when I was gaslit like crazy, like, no, you're the only one that's happened to, really. But there were other people not willing to speak up. But I mean, you go back to my Facebook posts, I'm kind of a Facebook crazy person, multiple posts a day. But I'm very open, and he doesn't have any social media, but I'm very open about our lives because I feel like if I put that out there, then when we're out there and things happen, it's like, oh, this is this is normal. She was never hiding anything. Do you know what I mean? Like it kind of
Yeah.
makes me, and then seeing others post now more about it. I've had so many people just personal message me, thank you so much for sharing this because
Mm.
I'm scared too. I've had tons of those messages, which is
Oh.
also scary because they are still feeling like their stories are being like, no, it's just you,
Like
you know.
they're out of luck, right? There's no hope for my situation, and it is what it is, and we're just going to sit here and deal with it as best as we can. But then, not that they're victimizing themselves, but it's I don't blame them for feeling that way because it's it's hard. like
Yeah.
I I know it's hard. So
Yeah. No, that's some good insight for sure. I mean,
but
it's yeah.
I just say when you feel marginalized, then you just feel like there's no hope for you. And a lot of that is how people that have these same things that we're talking about, they've been marginalized and made to think that you're crazy, or no, you did drugs or something when you were pregnant, or oh, you drank over here, yeah, that's why you have a child with autism now. And it's like, how can you in good conscience tell that to somebody when you have no idea what has happened to them, but just log it all into the same lump here. Oh yeah, you definitely did something wrong when you were 15, and that's why your child has this now. It's like that's
Yeah.
terrible.
Uh, it just like stirs up so much anger.
Yeah, but
and
that's human
and then
nature,
I
right?
wonder, right? I wonder too how many families are still silent. Like how many families out there like nobody even knows about.
Yeah,
They just I'm sure they see stuff on media and like stuff you post, Susie. That's it's probably touching people and hitting people that you have no idea,
Right.
which is
Yeah.
awesome. Uh, wow, where do we go from here? What do you think it'll take to change? Like, what do you think the administration can get like a progress in the next couple years, or at least it's out in the open now?
I would say even from their last big thing that kind of made me laugh at first because the Tylenol thing came out and then the news shut off and like nobody heard the rest, but it was RFK telling us about leucovorin and I talked to my friend who's a nurse practitioner. She's more into the holistic stuff as well, and I said, I want to try this. Can we? She's like, all right, because I have the same genetic mutation as Trey. So
Okay.
we don't create folate, which is a detoxer of our bodies. So I'm like, this is actually makes sense for us. But I even think just
Hmm.
them announcing that this drug could be helpful to a certain percentage of the population in autism. I mean, we've seen it's only been 2.5 weeks, and he's like little miracles are huge, right? Sleeping better,
Yeah. Oh
less
man.
aggression, more focus. He's trying to say more words. Like that's not just us. I've seen multiple posts from parents who are seeing
Yeah.
miracles. So I do think things could be going in the right direction. And I think being outspoken, not necessarily in a prideful way, but sharing your story is it could save somebody. You know.
But
Yeah.
what I think
100%.
too is that you know the leucovorin is trying to, I guess, not not a I guess eradicate the problem or the challenge of autism, but it's a way of, okay, we can give you something that will help, that's not going to be like giving you a Ritalin every day or something like that, that you're going to be so dependent on the rest of your life, you're going to turn into a vegetable, right? Because I see a lot of kids taking pretty hardcore drugs, and it's ups and downs all day long based upon which drug that they're taking. And that is really sad to watch as well. So the leucovorin seems like this is a way to regulate mood and function and stuff like that. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to start talking tomorrow, but maybe they will, maybe they won't. But if it brings some kind of progress and improvement, then we should all be about that. But the thing I think the root cause is, okay, what is causing this? And I hope that everybody has the fortitude to follow through and to say, okay, here's what's really causing this. Whether it is this regimen of vaccines, or it's something in our water, or something in our food, or whatever the heck it is, or if it's a culmination of all that stuff, like, let's stop poisoning our kids and ourselves, and you know let calm heads and even thinking people be allowed to make good decisions to help us all out. And so I just,
Yeah.
you hope that that's what's going to happen, but there's a lot of money, and there's a lot of power, and there's a lot of there's a lot of stuff involved in all these things that may or may not be the root cause. And so I just hope that they can, figure something out to at least prevent it from happening,
Hmm.
or really significantly reduce the occurrence of it somehow.
Right. I mean, it has to. Like, there's in my mind, there's no other option. Like you were saying, Susie. Like, at some point, everyone's going to be autistic if the rates keep going how they're going. And even if you don't agree with we're just better at diagnosing it, which is another argument. But it doesn't matter. The rates are still increasing. So at some point, it's going to hit a head where nobody can take care of anybody.
Yeah. And autism too is such a broad thing. You could pretty much diagnose anybody with autism at the same
Well,
time. Yeah.
that's what they're doing.
I know. And it's like, okay, what do we call all this? Well, we're going to call it autism, and we're going to make it way over here and way over there. And everybody can be lumped into it, but we won't really do much for them. We'll just say they have it. And
Yeah.
like, okay.
When people say when people say, "Oh, I'm probably a little bit autistic," does that like offensive to you? Like you don't even know.
I hear it actually. I hear it actually a lot. Sometimes they're
Yeah.
joking, and sometimes they're serious, and I'm just like, "Do you know? Have you been at my house? Have you?"
You know,
And I think a lot of it, and I don't want to get in trouble for saying this, but I think a lot of it is because I want help from the government. Like, if I have a diagnosis, I'm
mm,
going to get funds. And I'm adding something that Brian has been adamant on never getting help from the government. Like, we've never taken money from the state for Trey's diagnosis. Like, he's like, I am not gonna be like that. And sorry if I put that out there, but it's out there now. Like, we can do it ourselves. I don't want to be tied to something
yeah.
that might be scary in the future, being tied to.
So
Right.
I'll
Right.
say this in defense of myself here, I guess.
Okay, I want to hear it.
To clarify, that I don't think there's nothing wrong with needing assistance. That's not my.
No, there are definitely people
I'm
that
not. I'm
should
not saying, but if you're on government assistance, that somehow you're weak or you're a problem or anything like that. I don't. It's there to help people, and
for sure.
and I believe that when it's used properly, it is very beneficial to people. And we all know it gets abused like crazy. But so
Right.
I'm not worried that we would be abusing something or anything like that. But I just feel as though we've been provided enough to be able to do what we need to do without having to go and ask for something from somewhere else. And so I would hope that it's going to a good cause for someone else that may need it more than we do, because thankfully, we have a good support system. We've been able to make enough money to do things, and we've had support from family and friends in various
Hmm.
ways to allow us to do what we've done. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's good. What's your? We'll close it out here soon. I'm gonna put you on the spot at the end though, so be prepared.
Who? Which one of us?
you,
Both of you.
okay.
Okay.
What are your dreams for Trey's future?
What do you think?
What do I think?
Yeah.
Dreams. What did you put? You put something funny in, to
No.
be an NFL player.
Oh, yeah. a 220
A
pound
220
NFL
pound.
linebacker.
We were answering the questions last night, and we were just kind
Oh,
of
nice.
giggling because that's kind of a broad question.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you.
I I mean, my thought, what I put in reality was, I want him to be. I don't want him to be overweight
Oh,
and
that's right.
and unable to move and just a groggy, lifeless individual. I don't want that at all for him. I think we owe it to him to keep him active, to keep him fed well
Healthy.
and healthy, and to enjoy any freedom that he's capable of enjoying, whether that's just going to Disneyland or
He
some shit like
loves
that,
Disneyland.
or just going on a boat. He loves to be on the water, and if that's what he ultimately wants to do, and to go thrash him around on a tube, pulling him on a on a boat, and that's what we do for our fun, I'm happy with that, and so
Yeah.
I just
It's simple. I feel like they make us want for simple. Like, I would,
Mm.
my dreams would be for him to be able to speak to me, right? But I just hope he's less violent as an adult, and that if we pass, then our kids are able to accept him when their spouses, and it is an easy transition. That would be my dream.
If he could
Mhm.
contribute something like at work for me one day, if there's something that we could teach him to do that would give him a purpose, to go and do something like that, whether it's learning how to grease the bearing or something on our plant, or, if one day some miracle he could be able to run a front end loader. I don't know, maybe
Yeah.
that's something that we get to, just whatever he could get to is I think the dream is.
Yeah. That's cool. I mean, it's like, I think it's a perspective everybody can learn from. Realistic, but still have those goals and contribute and help out in any way possible. All right, 3 parenting hacks and 3 marriage hacks.
From
Well,
us,
what would you leave it with? We'll leave us with.
a parenting hack would be
Specifically for, well, I guess for any of your kids, all of it.
I would say number one, don't be content ever. To roll with it. Is that two or one?
Well,
Don't be content and roll with it. I guess that's two. No,
That's
that's two.
two.
That's two. Yeah.
Okay. Just roll with whatever comes at you versus, making you crazy. What do you?
Yeah.
it's like, don't be a control freak. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Is that what you're?
She struggles with that one a little
I'm a control freak.
bit. She, not so much a could. She's very independent. I'll say that, and that's not a bad thing. That's not a knock on her.
Right.
So,
Right.
a parenting hack.
Yeah, what's you need to add one parenting hack.
Um, I think just enjoy your time with your kids, because it is a really
Mm.
short time, and
Yeah.
they need you to be present with them. So yeah, don't make life being a dad a burden, or a mom a burden. Like your kids are some burden to you. They're a blessing.
Oh, that's good. Yeah,
Yep.
that's good. It can be hard to realize that at
Yeah.
times,
Yeah, when
but
they're little, it's like I want them to be adults. So now, like, our oldest graduates this year or this school year, and next one graduates next year school year, and then it's Trey, and then our baby. So she's gonna be in high school
yeah.
next year. So
Well, people tell me all of that all the time. My youngest is 1, and they're like, "Oh, just enjoy these times. It's gonna go by so fast." And I'm like, "Can it go any faster?" Like, I'm ready
I
for it to
remember
roll
saying
here.
that too.
And I feel
Yeah.
bad because he's had I mean, he was spent 9 weeks in the NICU. He's had a rough go as it is, and right
Yeah.
now, I mean, he's presumably pretty healthy. And I look at him like, I want you to grow up, but I feel so guilty telling you that because you like have come so far. But
Right.
that's funny. All right, 3 marriage hacks. These are going to be profound because marriage and divorce is astronomical. and you two have defied the odds, and you're still
So
laughing and
far.
sitting next to each
Just
other.
kidding.
So that's
So
awesome.
far.
That's so. I would say go on a date once a week.
Oh, okay.
But just date each
Date
other.
each other.
Yeah.
Even if the once a week is watching your favorite show in bed with a bowl of popcorn and the kids are in bed. Like, it could be simple, but also take the time to dress up and go to a fancy dinner once every few months or something,
Ooh,
So
dress
that's
up.
one.
That's a
I
good
mean,
one.
like, feel
Don't
fancy,
just
feel like
date, but dress up.
sometimes show up,
There we
make the
go.
time to. And then what would you say number 2 would be? I'm nervous.
What are you talking about?
Oh, you're typing
Hey, there's
fast.
no filters.
No. I think I don't know, there's nothing really, I don't think there's anything profound we're gonna say, Zach. I think it's probably pretty simple stuff. But I mean, for me I try to put myself in her shoes as much as I possibly can. And
Mhm.
try to see it from her side before I decide that no, this is how it has to be, or whatever it is in life, that if she's frustrated or something like that, is just thinking of her all the time, and how what I do affects her. And I think vice versa, she does the same thing for me. And so we're constantly thinking of the other one, and
Yeah.
that keeps our I think that keeps our love and our friendship and all those things, strong and strengthening.
I would say the
That's pretty
third.
profound.
Yeah, it is, right? He's pretty profound.
I've gone
Yeah.
pro.
I would say also treat your anniversaries like, holy cow, we did it again. Like, whether it's a little mini vacation or a staycation, make it not just another day, because the more anniversaries you get under your belt, the more you're beating the odds. And
Yeah.
like, we're gonna hit 19 in February, and I feel like I'm only 19 years old sometimes. Like, that's wild to me. So making those anniversaries be like, heck yes, we did it again. Is that a bad one,
Those
Pat?
are
No,
clutch.
I'll just say I know there's four, but I would say probably the most important one is our understanding that our marriage is forever. Our family is ours forever. And so having a centered, our religion and, our understanding of our purpose, not only now, but what's to come is probably the most concrete piece that we have together, is that we're both on the same track, and we're preparing ourselves and our families to meet God one day. And we're hoping that, we do the right things and we all get to be able to be with each other forever. And so,
And death is not the end.
and to see our boy, our brother, you know, see him in his perfect state, that's a pretty big motivator for us, is that, you know what, we're gonna see him in his perfect form one day, and we're gonna be able to have him tell us that, that he loves us, and all those things. And so that, I think that's probably the most important piece for us, is that there is hope for, perfection, and it's coming, and we want to see it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's incredible. Well, this was the Unspecial podcast. We had that was an awesome conversation. And you closed it out with some power. I took notes. I wrote them all down, especially the anniversary one. We just celebrated 13 years,
That's
and
awesome.
it
Congratulations.
just we didn't party like we were.
You still
You know,
can. Like, you know what?
it's
We had a
not
lot
too
going
late.
on.
You're right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like we did it. There's a lot going on last month or whatever it was.
It
And I
was
planned
only
this night out for
16.
you.
Yeah. All right. It was only
Do it.
16 days ago.
Okay.
So I can still make it happen.
Your
And
anniversary.
I can make it sound like it was always already planned.
It was planned and the place wasn't open on 16 days
Yes.
ago.
Oh, it's just going down. Oh, so fun. Well, thank you so much again for being on. And I know all the listeners are going to be super pumped. It's amazing to have a husband and wife on and just to hear your side of the story from both angles, and just seeing how you show up for not only Trey, but yourselves and for your marriage. So super powerful. Thanks again. And we'll be in touch.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.